oh, here's a Jerry Brown article, you know, realized was like, you know what, I need to use that language. So every time I communicate, it's every time I build a relationship, I'm gonna use that language, you know, and then every time an impact happens, I'm gonna use that language also, you know, and not just because it'll start transforming into where your team starts learning the language and start using the language also. Things I realized.
That's super, super helpful.
Yeah.
So, which I'm so excited about. So you talked to this guy, and he's in charge of what is it?
He's the sales rep for restaurants, large and small, mostly small mom and pop restaurant owners. And when I first shared the article with them, because it was like, yeah, send me the article, so I selected to him. I texted it to him, and then I saw him on Wednesday. He's like, dude, we gotta meet up. He's like, I go, there's an opportunity here, and I go, yes, there is. He's like, and before the conversation was like, these owners are getting screwed, and that was it. And Brett's like, no, like, yes, they're getting screwed, but also mention that, hey, you know somebody that they could help them. You know, this way they don't get screwed. And then that's when that also changed in the conversation. And he said, I do these guys are getting screwed. Like, yeah, but there's an opportunity for us to help get them out and get yourself out. You know? And then that's when the light bulb just opened up for both of us.
Yeah.
You know?
So how many restaurants?
It's all Santa Clarita, Silmar, all the way up to Lancaster, Palmdale.
Sounds like a lot
God.
of restaurants.
Yeah.
And has anyone ever worked as a waiter in a restaurant before? Waiter, waitress? Are you an employee when you work as a waiter, waitress in a restaurant? Yes, you are. You're an employee. And we know with the Jerry Brown law that 5 or more employees and you're going to be impacted. Mm-hmm. So how many of those businesses do you think have at least 5 people working at them?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
It's,
Huge. And now we always take it to that next level because we're in the what business? Distribution business. And so what's the next thing that you and I talked about? You using this information for? Who are you going to be sharing this with?
Oh, friends and relatives of how this here. Sharing with my other friends and family and then other co-workers that it impacted it had on both of us.
And what's that called in our an impact story, right? Because we're using the language. And so now there's that next opportunity for wait for the signature on the bottom line. Just the possibility is an impact story, right? Huge.
Yeah.
Whoa! There you go. Look at that.
I think that was the wine trip
Right,
that we
that's
won.
right.
Too.
So
What?
that ain't a bad thing right there. And then it's funny because last night I think we found another 117 and another 80 and then potentially another $500,000. So there's probably $800,000 of more money they found in the next year to come back up from that. So that's
I'm just here sizzling.
Smell it, smell it.
I'm spending no money.
Oh, I need it.
Just a quick side. I found 41,000.
dude, that's awesome.
Uncle came down here for a wedding, and spending that at our house, at my mom's house, and I went over. I'm having a conversation with him. And he's like, "What do you do now?" It's obvious. I've straight just qualified it. I'm doing this. I'm with companies with financial wellness. And he's like, "Well, I left my company. I have 41,000 there, and I'm with this new company. And if I want to start my 401k there, what should I do?" Well, you should just match because that's what I did in my 401k. And we can talk about your 41,000 that's sitting down and not being invested correctly later or in the future. So it was exciting for me to have that conversation with him and him assess himself about me within seconds. We're like, "Oh, David is doing something else," because he asked me, "Are you still working at Best Buy?" And I said, "No, I'm not. This is what I'm doing now." And he's like, "Oh, wow." So.
And David, we go get those assets, and then the day you get your 65, they say to transfer it straight over.
Transfer, use. Yeah, and we want that to happen next week,
Yes.
right? And the reason this is big, right, is because it's working.
Yes.
So you're impacting lives, right? You know, someone who's sort of newer to the group might hear like, oh, 44, 100, 50 million. You know, this is, no one else will throw that number in. Did I say that? Woo!
And once you said it,
Woo! You know, that's what it's about. But it's about impact, right? And it's about, and when we use the word impact, it's whatever impact means to you, right? Because to me, impact is about, you know, for me, it's helping those families and kids set up college funds, right? So that they're ready to go, so that a kid never has to decide if they're gonna go to UCLA or a community college solely because of the cash. If that's the right decision for their future, fabulous. But we want kids to make decisions when it comes to college about everything other than affording, right? It's the impact for each of us is different, but the dollars are a proxy for impact. And impact is what we're about in here. And so given where we are, and given that we've got some new folks, and given that this room needs to fill up really, really fast, because we have, at this point, we have about 1,000 individuals to contact. When we look at the wellness programs that Sue's done, that we've got in the ready to go, that we've got going, that Bob and Dawn, the PTA stuff that Dawn's doing, and when we, the church pregnant baby shower that's coming up, when we look at what we have going on right now, we have over 1,000 people that we are going to be ready, that are ready for us to contact. And as much as I love y'all, we are not enough people to contact 1,000 people and to be there in a meaningful way for 1,000 people. And so this room's gonna get really, really big, really, really fast. And it's up to us to maintain and establish the culture we have at this size, no matter what size we are. It's one of the greatest challenges that startups have. When Google went from 10 to 10 million, their greatest challenge on a daily basis is how do we maintain our culture? And we cannot hit a target that we're not aimed at. So I want to remind you all, I want to take a couple minutes to remind you all of what our mission is, what the basis of our culture is. And we call them our pillars of access. Pillar, if I get this right, is about competing every day for measurable results. When we talk about what that means, let's pull sort of slide up here. Oops, there we go. Okay, so compete every day for measurable results. This is the first pillar of our culture. Compete. What does compete mean? Compete, we don't think of in the same sense as like, I'm gonna beat you, right? Competition is about competing with yourself, competing to fight for consistent results. Competing to fight for consistency every day and in a measurable way, with measurable results. Wake up each morning and say, what am I competing for today? And how am I measuring whether I achieved it or not? What am I competing for this week, this month, this quarter? And how I'm going to measure it to make sure that I know that I'm achieving those results. And if I'm not achieving those results, maybe I have to reset my I see, I want. And these are tools that we teach throughout the time that you're with us. These are life tools, right? The beauty of this stuff, Jenny, is you're going to use this in your life to make a difference. Whenever you have a project, I want you to say, whether it's in school or at your cover fire job or in here, what am I competing for? And how am I measuring it to make sure that I achieve it? You know, it was funny when we talked to Primerica, and about having closed drive. That was an exciting day for everybody. And a comment was made, half joking, by the head of 401k investments marketing at Primerica. Well, now we get to take the rest of the year off.
That's what he said.
That's what he said.
Wow.
In a very celebratory, happy way.
Of course.
Now, I love that all of you have this reaction, because from what I hear in the Sandlot room, y'all might not have had the same reaction. For us, it's just one step. It's an awesome step, and we want to celebrate those steps, and we could be every day for measurable results. So we woke up the next day and said, what's next, baby? That's what this culture is about. This culture is about celebrating those moments and waking up the next day and saying, what's next, baby? Our next pillar of access. This is my favorite. This is my most important. Okay, if you said everybody has their favorite, I'm telling you right now, and Brett will tell you he has his favorite, I'm telling you right now, the foundation of this team, different from any Primerica office that you will ever walk into, is this. We celebrate each other's victories as if they're our own. A win for one is a win for everyone. And this is not just me talking. This is not just lip service. I can give you direct examples of how this works. You had an amazing week. You talked to someone who has access to hundreds of restaurants, guys. Hundreds of a direct relationship with owners across the valley. And Tony could sit here and be like, that's nice for you, baby. We celebrate each other's wins. Yay. Tony might actually even be sincere. Be like, yay, Huey, go with your bad self. There's more to it than that. See, Tony gets to take that story to his market. Tony gets to tell his newest recruit about what the team is doing. Tony gets to talk to his buddy who's a waiter at a restaurant and say, you know, it's crazy. I was in my entrepreneur's training and my teammate is talking to 100 restaurant owners about this Jerry Brown law that's impacting employees, waiters at restaurants. And what's that friend of yours who a waiter's gonna say? We need that too. About just from a truly authentic place, celebrating each other's victories as if for our own. This is about leveraging the heck out of them for each of us, because we are a team. And there's nothing more exemplary of that than the fact that when you pick up, just so everybody's clear, when you pick up that $41,000 and that goes into the managed account and you get fully licensed, despite the fact that the day that you picked it up and you weren't fully licensed, whose name does it go under? Yeah, you're not fully licensed. So whose name is it going to go under when you pick that up? And? Rob. Yeah, thank you. Just so we're clear.
Don, as soon as you're ready to handle it, it would go under Don. As soon as you're ready to do the appointment.
And what happened when you get fully licensed? So your leaders in this room, same thing happens for you with Sue. Your leaders in this room are not just giving this lip service. We don't just say this, we are putting our money there. I want you to understand that. I want you to feel that. I want you to embody that. There is no space, there is no oxygen in this room for anything other than celebrating each other's victories as if they are our own. Moving on. This is my husband's favorite. One of the tops. A role for all of us. A place for everyone and a role for all of us. And just a reminder, we use this one a lot. And this is not designed to let you off the hook, to commit and to be your absolute 100% best with whatever role you choose. I have to tell you, one of the things that I said to my husband this week that he put a big smile on his face. I said to him on Wednesday, Next Wednesday, we have what we call our Oz night, right? And our Oz night is our Allies, Advocates, and Associates night. And the rest of Primerica has what on that night, Sue?
Off night.
An op night. Do you know what op night stands for? Opportunity night. It's the night that the rest of Primerica shares the great opportunity that they have to offer. Now, do you think that our opportunity is less than everybody else's opportunity?
No.
Do you think we might have an opportunity to share?
Yes.
Yes. So as far as I'm concerned, Wednesday coming up is our op night. It is the opportunity to become an ally, an advocate, or an associate. Because there's an opportunity in this room for the entire world to hear wherever you are and whatever role you want to choose. So make no mistake that our Oz night is the greatest opportunity night that Primerica has ever seen and will continue to be from this moment going forward. Yeah?
Yeah.
You excited?
Yeah.
I'm excited because it is about a place for everyone and a role for all of us. And we will hold you to the role that you choose because we need everybody in this room to make a difference. We need everybody in this room to change the world. We need everybody in this room to change the world, starting with your own. Yeah? Okay. Moving on. Advances are permanent. Advances are permanent, baby. If Brett and I, in moving to closed jobs, operated from, missed it again, energy. Every single time something didn't work out the way that we wanted it to, we would not be talking about how to do today. If Brett and I had that attitude 4, 5, and 7 years ago about getting to where we are today, we would never be where we are today. Because the attitude of takes up a lot of energy, it takes up a lot of time, and doesn't allow you to move forward. So in this room, when things don't necessarily work out where we thought we were going to be, we celebrate where we are and what we've learned in that time. Because advances are permanent. If you study for the Series 6 and you don't pass, you know more the day you don't pass than you did the day you started studying. And if you don't pass again, you know more the second time than the day you started, than the day you didn't pass the time before. We use that energy. Every day is a new month, a new beginning, a new start, a new mindset, a new focus. We start from the new place that we are in every single time. And those advances are permanent. We're building assets all the time. You're like, oh, I didn't pass my test. Oh, I haven't taken my Series 6 yet. Oh, I've been studying for a year and a half. Yes, but I just started something who has access to hundreds of business owners. What do you want to focus on? Where you focus your energy is where you will have growth. If you want to grow in the negative, you probably want to find somewhere else to grow. We'll help with the transition. Don't worry about that. We'll help with the mental transition in here. 3 seconds of courage we're working on. 3 seconds of courage. 3 seconds of courage. There you are. What you're doing. Okay. Next pillar. Be coachable. Be coachable. It's on you. What did I say to Tony today? I said, Tony, I'm delivering you an opportunity. I'm going to deliver you the ingredients to the secret recipe for Coke. It's up to you if you're going to make the Coke. If you're going to use the ingredients. Type your wallet. We're going to sell it too. But I'm going to hand you the ingredients. How does Tony know what to do with them? He's never made Coke before. Coca-Cola. Let's go.
Pablo.
How how does he know what to do with them? Should he know what to do with them?
Which coach?
No. He should know. So it's up to him to be coachable, to reach out to his leaders, to seek direction, to welcome correction. If you say to me, I'm kind of confused about this thing, Robin, can you help me out? But then I'm actually not going to listen to you because I really want to do it my own way. Is that going to be useful? Not really, but people do it all the time. You need to seek direction, you need to welcome correction, and then I'm actually going to give you the information. Do you know how many people we give the information to that they don't actually use it, David?
Yes.
It's shocking, isn't it? I know, it's just mind-blowing. You gotta use it. You have to execute with purpose. You've got to measure those results. And then you gotta come back over and over and over again. You need to be coachable. All we can do is offer the opportunity. All Sue and Brett and I can do, and the leaders in this room, is offer our time. You are adults and you are entrepreneurs, and it's up to you to take advantage of it. Okay, and finally, it can happen. It can happen for you. What's possible is true.
That's my opinion.
What we said we were going to do, we've done. And we are not done. And we are not taking it off. But if we do all of this and you don't believe that it can happen for you, it won't. And that is why we operate on the belief that it can happen here. What happens here depends on what you fight for. What's your now it? What's your it? What does it mean for you? Is it an extra $1,000 a month? Is it a lifetime? Is it learning how to be an entrepreneur? What's your it? What's your it now? What's that thing? Maybe your it is passing that Series 6. What's your it right now? And what's your then it? What are you working for? What do you want for your family? What do you want for yourself? What do you want for your future? It, whatever your it is, can happen here. And continues to happen here every day, of every week, of every month, of every quarter, of every year. When you make it happen. And that's it. This is what our culture is about, guys. This is access. Access is about saying we compete every day for measurable results. Access is about saying we celebrate each other's victories as if they were our own. Because they are. That there is a role for all of us. Because I've often said it would be an incredibly boring world if every single person was a prime market. In fact, no one would actually have any money that we could offer. There has to be a role for all of us. We celebrate those roles and we push to achieve, to max out whatever that role is that we choose. Our advances are permanent. We're never starting over. We're always moving forward. We always have learned a little bit more. We can always do a little bit more. We always have that opportunity for a new mindset, a new month, a new moment. And we're coachable. We recognize that this is not about anybody doing this on their own. Because if we're trying to do it on our own, thinking that we're teaching everybody isn't a way to maximize your opportunity. We are here for each other. We turn to each other, and we do it with an open mind, and then we execute with purpose and accountability. And finally, get some chills going. It can happen here. It can happen here. Whether it will happen is up to you. And we will always, Sue and Brett and I will always make the commitment to create the space that it can happen here. As long as you believe it, as long as you apply yourself, it will happen for you. Whatever it is. This is the foundation of access.
as your leaders, we put this list together based on the culture that we wanted to be in for the next 10 years. I want to be a part of a company. I want to be a part of a group of people who embody these philosophies. To be quite honest, I'm really not interested in working with a group of people that don't. Remember these, learn these. It is up to us, the people in this room today, to preserve these cultures going forward. Because we are going to double and triple and quadruple and quadruple in size. And it becomes challenging sometimes to remember this. But we will be creating a large poster of it as a reminder. The poster only does so much. Every day that you act, I want you to say to yourself, am I acting in access? Am I living in access with the way I respond when I hear a really cool win on the team? With the way I do or don't call my coach after I've picked up how much potentially? $41,000.
I was gonna slack it, but it was midnight.
We're still up. And who was not up at midnight?
Oh, yeah,
Because we're going to celebrate each other's victories as if they were our own. And you check yourself. You check it at the door. Because that is the culture that we have in this room. Yeah? Yeah. Everybody in?
Yeah. I have a question. What's the coolest thing about what happened to David? That conversation, that 41,000. What's the coolest thing about that?
We can all celebrate.
How? Like, but what is the part that we're celebrating? What's the cool thing? And there's no right answer.
Yeah.
I'm just curious.
Just, I don't know. What
That
do you
he
think?
used the information that he retained from here to express it and share with someone that he knows in his own life.
Okay, that's really cool.
That's so cool.
Anything else? Any other cool things?
I think it's cool that you didn't really have to look for it. It came to
Yeah.
him.
So all of a sudden, he's able to make an impact to someone else's life, and opportunities kind of present themselves to him.
He had the language, so this person didn't even bat an eyelash. He was like, okay, cool, but I need to do this.
So, do you guys realize that the guy walked up saying, "Are you still working at Best Buy?"
Yes.
So I want you to think about this for a second. Here's a guy that just left his job, and he walked up to someone and says, "Are you still working?" I got to be careful with this, but I don't mean any disrespect what I'm going to say. But do we have a mental picture of the type of person who's in their 30s that works in retail? Okay. That's not big, and there's nothing wrong. Like, you do whatever you got to do to take care of your family. There's nothing wrong. But there's a level of, like, y'all with me? So he's walking up going, "David, are you still working at Best Buy?" David's answer was, "No, but what are you doing now?" And at the end of the conversation, he flipped the mindset from a guy working at Best Buy, "Have my retirement funds, what should I do with it, and can you help me?"
And you have my number whenever you want to call or text me. Right? And that's it.
Because of the language, because of the understanding and the impact, because of the positioning, but there was an opportunity to flip the perspective. Now, it didn't happen in that. It happened because of who David's been and becoming within his family, because of all of his stuff. But you guys all understand that can happen to anyone? Yeah. So all of this are the types of things that you're like, oh my God, what if over the next 5 years, how many of us think that there are going to be people in our lives that leave jobs all the time? All the time. So how many opportunities, if you have the language and licenses, all of a sudden they're like, oh, here's money, here's assets, here's resources, here's that. You just flip it and make an impact, so you get emotional about it, going, I'm not going to make the money the priority, I'm going to make the impact the priority, which is what makes the money practical. If David's like, oh my God, I can totally help you and make you a lot of money, does that increase, that changes the dynamic, right? But David's like, no, here's our opportunity, here's what we do, here's our passion, here's our drive, created a space for him to put himself into it because he would feel good about that.
And remember when we talked about the baseline 30 conversations? The steps? That's an example
where David went through all the steps in one conversation. A lot of times we have the perception that it always takes multiple conversations to move someone's perception of us as one thing, someone who works at Best Buy, to something else, someone who's building a business that helps corporations and individuals with their finances, or someone who's building a business to close the access gap. When we talk about that baseline 30 and those, those steps and conversations, it often sounds like it always takes multiple conversations. That's a perfect example of where David moved the person through all of the stages in one conversation. It's entirely possible to do it in one conversation in the right moment with the right person. And part of what David's learning is, when is the right moment with the right person, right? When do I realize that I'm in stage 2 and it's time to drop the mic? Because they're not ready to hear stage 3 and stage 4. And what questions do I ask that give me, I'm listening, I'm not just talking. The key is I'm listening to hear the cues that say, okay, I can keep going, I can move to the next, I can move to the next.
I think that's what allowed him, when I asked the questions, to let him know that I was hearing him. It's when he said, wow, that's when he started telling me what he has and what can I help him.
Right. Right. And David has been very well taught to not say, yeah, let's talk tomorrow and I'll pick up that 41,000.
Yes.
Because David made the relationship the priority. Because that's a person who's going to have lots and lots and lots of opportunities for David. And if he jumps on that first one too soon, how would that person feel? Right? But it's just for the sale. And it's not, right? And David can come authentically from that place because we are about the long-term relationship. Are you going to be in business in 10 years?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that going to be person working somewhere in 10 years?
Yes, they will.
There you go. So big. So this is all about developing market. And are you going to be writing or just talking? It's up to you. I just want to know if I should switch. You might be writing some?
Maybe showing. I don't know.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
We'll see how it goes.
okay, will you switch
Yeah, yeah.
So this is all about talking about developing the market. So Sue, Great Sue Twiddell, is going to come up and talk to us about some of the ways that she's been developing her market and some of the new things that she has been seeing. And I think also share a little bit about Employer Next. You know that word? Great. The Great Sue Twiddell. My God.
So, yeah, no, let's. Are we gonna get a new one too? With the new logo on it?
Oh, yeah.
So I like this. I think this is a great reminder of the pillar, no, seriously, of the pillars to success.
Yeah.
When every time you're on the computer and you're using the mouse, don't you think?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so how you guys doing?
Yeah.
All right, so that was amazing, Robin. I'm listening and I'm going, okay, so I should integrate this into this and this into this. So I think I'm going to start with the business owner spotlight that we had last Tuesday night. And I think a lot of you, I think all of you know that we had it. Some of you were there. Some of you I know were watching on Hangouts right then. Because I went in afterwards and there were already 5 views. So I know some of you saw it, so that's awesome. But what you guys didn't get to see is here looking out on the room and to actually network with some of those folks and see who was in here. And in some cases, what it took to get them here, and in some cases, how they responded to the whole thing, which I think was huge. It was huge. I had, and I'm just going to briefly tell you what I had there. This is not a pat on the back for me or anything like that, but I need to use it in a little bit more of what I'm doing in just a minute. So I kind of want to tell you who was in the room. I actually had 6 or 7 people here. But as much as I had 6 or 7 people here, I'm gonna go back for just a second on that, because this not only has to do with the business opportunity spotlight or the business spotlight, but it also has to do with our Oz night. Because what I did for that night, just really quick,
is this was my list. Okay, I had 30 people invited. All right, I had 67 here, but I had 30 people invited. And it was one of those things that I decided that I needed to invite a lot of people because I wasn't sure of the numbers. I know what my numbers were from way back when we were in San Luis. Yeah, 10 to 10 to.
10 to
10 to. Invite 10, get 2 there, and for me, that wasn't really my numbers, it was 12 and get probably 3 there, but if I invited 10, then they may not show up. So everybody's numbers are just a little bit different, but I wanted to work off of something the same way. And so I literally invited a lot of people. And again, please transfer this over to Osnight because I think it's very, very important. So about a third showed up. Now, the third that showed is very interesting, very different dynamics though, because the third that showed up, the relationships was way different than way back in Sandlot. And what's going to be able to happen is a lot more going to be able to move forward. But when Brett and Robin say make a list for Osnight, you guys, please make that list for Osnight. What they're sending out from Access Support is absolutely amazing. The letters, the emails that they're sending out. So that was just a transition over there just a little bit for just a second. But I also wanted to talk to you about a couple of the people in the room, and then I can go into a little bit on the marketing of it, what I did. Okay, so it's very interesting because I used a lot of my lineup in this, and when I look at the people in the room, they came from different lists of people. So we all know when we're talking about wide. Are you familiar with wide at all? Okay, so this is the stuff that I want to write down because you've never seen this. So we have a concept here called wide. And it's an acronym. And this is how we do anything. So I'm going to have everybody in the room help me for a second just to catch Francisco up just a little bit so we can understand what's going on out here for just 1 minute. Okay, so what's the W stand for, you guys? Write out your goal. I'm going to kind of bring it here. Okay, the I. Identify and assess. I want to write access every time I write this. It's crazy. How do you spell it? I know. What's the D? Develop. Okay, develop a game plan. Okay, and the E? Accountability. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about this as we're going to. So, as this happened, a lot from my business owner spotlight came from different lists. I had the list for my business owner spotlight that night, right? But it came from a lot of different of my lists. My list consists of, and I'm just really briefly, just so you guys have a couple of ideas here, came from this one, which is actually my baseline 30 lists. This one, which is my active advocates. It came from this one, which is my corporate solutions list. Okay, so it came from a different list. So if any of us think that it's just one list, it's multiple lists. I make a list for every single thing. Okay, so I had people in the room that I said, like I said, came from my active advocates, from my baseline 30, and from my corporate solutions. So I had Nolan Steven. Result from this, just to give you a jump ahead just for a second, is that she's an audiologist, has 3 audiology businesses, and we're going to do financial wellness workshops for all 3 of those. Okay. Another person here was, of course, Catherine was here. A lot of you have met Catherine. She's a CPA. She's working with us a little bit on some of the 401ks. Her husband had come to, and this is interesting, had come to the business owner spotlight in February. From then to now, slowly been talking to him, working through why, okay, through her and using why, and he is now ready to work with us. He's really super excited. So he was here in the room. Terry Mayfield was here. He is somebody in the community. This is the first thing that he's ever seen with us. And as much as he knows I'm in financial services, he literally did not know anything more. He didn't know who Primerica was. So he was in the room. Different list, right? Baseline 30, but where was he on my baseline 30? Well, no, he wasn't in the corporate, but he was really and truly, he was my warm market at phase 1. I hadn't even moved him past phase 1 of my baseline 30. Okay, and then I think I'm missing a couple other people. Oh, Marcy was in the room. Marcy is a mortgage broker. She actually has one of the mortgage brokerages, and it's a franchise type situation. She actually runs that one. Okay, this was the first thing that she had ever come to here as well, to talk about advocate. So a couple things happened that night. First of all, she got sold out. She wants more people coming the next time. So please get people through, you guys. That's how powerful it is. Nola, who was sitting back there, and I told you that she had that she wants the financial wellness workshops. She literally said, "Have you talked to Kathy over at VIA?" And I said, "No, not yet." She says, "They all need to be hearing this presentation." Okay, VIA's Valley Industry Association. It's all the larger businesses and things around the area. That's what she was saying. So she's going to go talk to her for us.
Will she become an advocate?
She is an advocate, absolutely. Okay, so how does all this stuff happen? Okay, where does it go to? How does it do it? Because a lot of this was was in the community, and I got into the community a long time ago. And so the point that I want to make here is that I've got a lot of people that happen to be here and people that weren't here that are not in that position yet. They're somewhere in my baseline 30. Because a lot of these folks started out to be lukewarm, but all of them, since we have something in common, and they're in my warm market. It was somebody in our warm market. We put them into the baseline 30, and we start using why with each one of them. What's our goal for them? How am I going to move them through to get them to the point where they can actually hear us, right? Right then. Okay. Identify and assess where they are. I mentioned even in this room there was a lot of different ones. So what did I do? What do I do out there? I use the baseline 30. You guys are all familiar with that. I'm sorry if you're not. Francisco, you will be okay. Okay. You guys are all familiar with that. All I did was switch it up just a little bit for the community because they're not my personal, but they are all my business relationships and community relationships. But it's exactly the same. You look at what the goal is for each step. Phase 1, introduction, introduce what we're doing, right? Okay, what's phase 2? Phase 2 is locking in, locking in the ally. Okay, that's the overall goal. There's a lot of things there, but we're actually locking in that ally. Okay, so when locking in the ally in the community, I get my stories for them is something that's going to lock them in. It has a whole lot to do with them. It has a whole lot to do with listening to their business, and then moving on. So phase 3 is strengthen the ally, right? Start to really strengthen that relationship. And then phase 4 is actually in the community would be, and it's in the baseline 30 as well, as we're moving them to an advocate. Okay, so it's actually in our baseline 30. My story might just be a little bit different as I'm going. Okay, does that make sense? Okay. So I think my brain just stopped for a second. So So it's step by step by step, exactly the same thing that we're doing. Here's the fun part of it. No matter where anybody is on this, because a lot of these on here, I don't know if you guys can see this. Can we make it larger? This, I have another page that goes with this. I'll have to decide on what I'm doing. But every single person here, almost all of these are in the community.
Yeah.
Okay, but I'm just as excited. This is the phase in the baseline period that they're at. There's a bunch of ones down here, a bunch of twos here, and a bunch of threes here. And I'm moving them along. I'm just as excited to move them from here up to a 2 as I am to get them to the business owner spotlight. Because I've invited a lot of people to business owner spotlight that didn't show up maybe the last time. And now we're in a path to keep moving them along. I don't normally wouldn't even invite them until probably phase 3. And like Robin said, that phase can go in one meeting, or maybe it takes a year or 2 years for it to happen. I don't know. And it doesn't matter. There's enough people here that it doesn't make any difference. By the way, just for you guys, you can see what the position is. The strength, that's how they see me. That's how they see me, where my eyes of them. So there's a lot of different things when I started last contacts and things like that. I just happened to print that out. But does that make sense to, so it's really important just to be able to move just one step. That's so exciting for me. I had a meeting with somebody the other day, just to give you an example. Somebody that I have known, there is a new CEO for the Boys and Girls Club. The old CEO, named David Machaca, has since decided to go somewhere else. But he made, and I think he knew this in the last couple of years, that he was only going to be there in a certain period of time. And I had a good relationship with him. So every time I was there, he introduced me to Matt. And he made sure that I knew him. So all of a sudden, David leaves. Matt is now the CEO. And because we had a good relationship, I'm over at a luncheon. Matt comes up to me with this big smile on his face. Congratulations, and we get together. And so now we're sitting down. We're doing things for the Boys and Girls Club. We're going to do it for the kids. We're going to do it for the staff, and we'll do it at some point in time. But that relationship, just Matt's moving from lukewarm with a nice invitation, he knew who I was all the way through. That's a year in the process. And it's so exciting just to be able to move him to this next one, to where we're actually talking to him about these things. And he's introducing me to the staff members that are actually going to help out. So step by step by step by step. That's the absolutely, yes, measurable results. Locking it in, moving forward. So
That's awesome.
I think, yeah, and it's not me, guys.
No,
This is all of us. We all have those lists. It's when we just focus on those, and where can we move the next person to? What's the next step? What are we locking in? What's the impact stories that we're telling? How are we getting it to the next step? So that's why I wanted to share with you guys.
Okay. So the key here is relationships, right? That's what it's all about. It's about the relationships, and it's about learning where are they, how do we value them, how do we leverage them, how do we support them, how do we nurture them, right? So that there's an opportunity for them to hear us on the 10th rate. Because if they're a business owner, if they're an individual, we have something to offer everybody to support them, right? And there were a couple things that I wanted to talk about. One, given where we were, everyone take out your lists for us now. Got it? Go get it. What are y'all showing up in here without your lists for? Really? Where's your list?
It's like at his house, he'll be back.
We're in training, right? Where's your list? You've had it.
Yeah, I know. It's a reminder, and it's kind of a
'cause it has all the life stuff, and I was like,
Jenny!
I know,
Oh,
my
Oh,
God.
Yeah.
Emails in a draft for Oscar.
Okay, it's good. I get to mess with you a little bit, right? Because you're like me. If I went back in time like a year, right? We were the same age. So. We've got a list. Sid, where's your list?
I just have my picture down here.
Who's extra list up here too?
I don't think so.
Okay, get a list. Or you
I
leave here.
I have a blank one, I can make some.
Hmm?
I have.
You have one?
Rob and I got a blank one, I
Go
can
get
get
it.
some.
You have one. Go get it.
Does everybody have one? Rob and I can make a couple.
That's okay.
Okay.
Thank you. You got yours? This is Tony's list.
Woo, Tony.
Everybody clap for Cody. Tony and I talked on what day?
Wednesday.
Wednesday. Tony and I talked on Wednesday. Tony, did you have your list?
Nope, I had my list, but in the separate sheet of paper.
Did it have everything that's on this list? No, it didn't. Well, Tony, can I go here?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Tony, I swear, in one of these meetings, Brett handed out this list and said to fill it out, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But you decided to put your list somewhere else. So why was that?
I put on my planner, just so every day I look at it, I know what contact. But the thing I didn't realize is, one, it has a temperature. I wasn't even assessing where they were. So with a sheet of paper, you now know where the conversation started and how you're treating them. I was treating basically everybody like they were all ready to hear it. So,
Do you know that you just made me so happy that you would put that information in your planner and not on this list? Do you know why, Bella? I am ecstatic that Tony put that information in his planner and not on his list. Was I ecstatic on Wednesday? No, I wasn't so ecstatic on Wednesday. But right this second, I am ecstatic, genuinely, authentically ecstatic that your brother put that information in his planner instead of on this list. Why is that different?
Because he can just transfer it over.
Because he could explain what he just explained.
Because he can explain what he just explained! Did you understand what he said? Cindy, did you understand what Tony said? What did Tony say?
Yeah, he has a language of what this is about and how it can help him assess where people are, because he thought everyone was in the same level, but they're not.
And will he ever make that mistake again? No. It might take him 1 or 2 more times, but we're definitely. We're ahead of the game. We're ahead of the game because advances are permanent.
She knows him so well.
Yeah, you tell her, where's your list? Jenny, hey,
It's in a binder.
Leadership.
right? Growth. This is such huge growth. Now, I point this out for a couple reasons. I'm so proud of you. That was so clear, Tony. You were able to communicate in a way that your team can hear you. Will you ever make this list without the temperature based on what your brother just said? So excited. Okay. Oftentimes, who here has seen The Karate Kid, the movie?
Which one?
The first one.
The first one.
The original.
The original. Tony's only homework this week on Wednesday was to see the first Karate Kid.
Oh my God.
He saw it yesterday because I told him by Saturday you have to watch this movie.
Wow.
It's dedication. What did you learn from the movie? Wax on, wax off. Go with the plane and get the results.
Defend the
You
plan.
may not always know why your leaders ask you to do something a certain way. I got the shortcuts, and I totally get it. And I want you to use your shortcuts after you've learned the way that we're suggesting you learn it, because we're suggesting it for a particular reason. And then once you've learned it the way we've learned it, totally open to talking to you about your shortcuts, because they'll probably benefit everybody here. Fair?
Yeah.
That's the catch. See, we've been doing this or something that leads to something like this a really long time. It is very rare, I might not say never, because I don't use never, but we ask you to do something that it doesn't have a particular purpose behind it. And we will not always explain that purpose. If you are the kind of person who needs to hear it, you are welcome to come to us after and ask. Or you're welcome to ask then, and we might tell you, we'll tell you after. Everything that we do has a purpose. When I sat down with Tony, and he was like, why don't you guys do paper? I got it in my planner. And I said, yeah, but there's columns in here that aren't in your planner. And he was like, well, I don't really need that. I don't really need the temperature. And in fact, in that moment, Tony couldn't even articulate yet that he was treating everybody the same. It wasn't until he actually wrote down the different temperatures that he realized. When we ask you to do something a certain way, there is actually a reason to do it. You might not always know right when you get it, but that's because you're going to have the experience to know yet. So, everybody, for Oz Night, please have one of these pieces of paper. You might have a bunch of people that you're not ready to invite. That's okay too. Then it's about moving them, moving the relationship, identifying where they are and moving them. There was another great thing about this piece of paper that wasn't going to be on the planner. There was nowhere to confirm that they said that they were coming. If you confirm that you're going to be somewhere and you don't show up, might it be helpful to figure out if you didn't show up because you didn't really want to come, but because there was a real reason that you couldn't show up and you're actually really open to coming the next time? Might I talk to you differently depending upon those things? But until Imani comes out, we can't track that in our planners. And so we're going to track it on a piece of paper. And how many people with these pieces of paper have come to meet Brett or Sue for coaching on getting people to Oz Night? Raise your hand. One. Check yourself if you are being coachable. We're driving to Oz Night, and no one except for David in 2 weeks. It's been 2 weeks, since we passed this up. In 2 weeks has talked to a leader here. We have got to get better as a team, guys. The key to Oz Night is it's our opportunity to tell our story. And with the bookends that we established this week, we need lots of people to hear this story. You were at an Oz Night. Did we make you feel uncomfortable? Or did you feel like you were being harassed by or doing something? Okay. It's a very safe, interesting space. Interesting information, opportunity to hear a story. And as it turns out, here was someone who was impacted by that opportunity directly. You came with someone else who was impacted by that opportunity indirectly. Fair? Fair. This is what Oz Night is about. And as a reminder, leadership team, it is our Oz Night. Leadership team. Leadership team. Leadership team in training. It is our Oz Night. You take responsibility for this list. You take responsibility for getting people there. You take responsibility for setting up, for cleaning up, for going home, for getting here early and going home late. This is on us. And now how do we get people there? Make a list. Developing a relationship. That's what Sue was sharing. Sue went out into the community and started talking to people. She did not immediately start talking to them about Primerica. Depending upon the person and where they were.
It can happen in one conversation. Yes, David?
Yes.
In one conversation, you could be talking to someone about how you used to work at Best Buy, and the next thing you know, you've invited them to Osnight and they said yes. It can happen in one conversation. Or it might take a few months, it might take a few weeks, it might take a year. With the opportunity we have in front of us, it probably doesn't need to take a year anymore. There's tremendous opportunity. So the classic question that I get every single time, thank you. Now let's coach on it. The classic question I get is, what do I say? I don't know what to say. What do I say? Which is a very fair question. And the first thing that you have now learned to say about what we do, that Cindy is a champion on, is, Cindy, what do we do? What do we provide? Who do we work with?
We provide financial wellness to business and corporations, and I believe we added persons, individuals.
Organizations, businesses and organizations. That's our focus, right? And we're going to touch on the individuals in a minute. We provide financial wellness to businesses and organizations, right? That is what we do. We have a tremendous opportunity and a tremendous challenge in California right now. Tony, what is our greatest challenge in California right now? The Jerry Brown. Okay. Every employer with 5 employees or more is going to have to offer an employer-sponsored plan, or they're going to have to expose their employees to a state-run plan. Yes? That's number one. And we are providing the education to support the employers. And they can learn more about that here, right? That's number one. Now you had a new recruit here, buddy. Go on here. David. David's been here before. But David seemed to be extra excited this time. Is that fair? Why was David so excited, Tony?
Because he sees the value of teaching people. He works at Staples and he doesn't see like a path. Like he's gone to his employer and asked for retirement, and they have not done it. And so he's learned more about what they're doing. Like this can impact everything. He wants to be more involved in other businesses.
True. I've heard that from him before. He seems extra excited this time. He seemed extra excited about the opportunity in front of him. Because the opportunity is real. Right? We kind of have coined it the Uber Premier. There is a very real opportunity to get licensed with us, to get trained with us, and to impact others people's lives and make an extra $500 or $1,000 a month. Because we will hand you the relationships as part of your training. We will hand you the relationships. Now, there have been a few months where we've been talking about handing people relationships. And we didn't necessarily have as many relationships to hand out. We have lots and lots of relationships today to train people with, don't we? So there is opportunity, and we have a crisis. And the crisis is that we need more people. And so we need to drive people to Osnight. We need to drive people to our opportunity night, where we will give them the story. And whether they're impacted as an ally or an advocate who bring more people to hear the story, or they're impacted directly, it is equally successful. So we have a couple days to drive the heck out of this Osnight. I want us to blow out this Osnight. This is such an exciting time. This is so real. And so when someone says, what do you do? Right? The first step is we work with businesses and organizations to provide financial wellness. And the next question we usually get is, well, what's that? And I'm gonna give you some language, okay? So our financial program is made up of 3 parts. The first part is group education. Group education in the form of our workshops and all different kinds of topics, right? How to get out of debt, how to save for your kids' college, how to plan for retirement, how to invest in your 401k, if that makes sense. So step 1, group education. We come into businesses, we teach groups of employees. Even bring pizza. Group education. Step 2 is individual education. That's where it comes in, Cindy. Individual education. We work with individual employees to give them a customized plan for their finances and for their financial future. Group education and individual education. And step 3 is ongoing education. You guys need to remember is group, individual, and ongoing education. An ongoing education is that each employee gets assigned a financial coach that they can call anytime and ask a question. I got a question for you. How many times, and we talked to everyone, was there a time in the last year where something really good happened financially or something not so good happened financially? Yes. Who did you call? My mom, my sister, my best friend. Were they an expert in financial services? Well, no. Well, wouldn't it have been nice if you could have called an expert? What might have been something you might have learned differently about how to handle that moment? In our ongoing education, we provide you with that person to call. These are the 3 pieces of the program. Group education, individualized education, and ongoing education. We're the only ones who provide all 3 pieces. And you know how much it costs? Nothing. It costs the employer nothing. The employer has everything to gain. Because they are the hero providing the service. So when someone says, well, what's this about? You have your next sentence. You've had your first sentence. Your first sentence is working with a group of people that provides financial wellness to businesses and organizations. Well, what's financial wellness? It offers 3 components. We provide group instruction and education, right? Like workshops, work on your business, for your pizza, sit down lunch, we provide individual education. Every one of your employees, you as an employee would get an individualized customized plan for free. And ongoing education, you will have someone to call whenever you need them, whenever something really good happens, whenever something really challenging happens, whenever something that you're not sure if it's good or challenging happens, you get to pick up the phone and call a representative, a coach who's been assigned to you. That's what financial wellness is. That's what we offer. Yes.
You said like corporations.
Replace
So-
the businesses.
So just depends on who you're talking to. Corporation sounds very large. So in order to encompass small businesses and large businesses, we started using businesses. If you are talking to someone who's at a very large corporation, feel free to substitute corporation for this. Good. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Yeah? Helps, right? That's the next step. I want to hear more about it. You want to hear more about it? You want to learn more about it? We have an incredible opportunity. You want to learn more about it? Great. We have an open house on Wednesday. Come and hear more. We have an open house on Wednesday. Come and hear more. Oh, I can't make it on Wednesday. That's okay. I'll let you know when the next one is. Because we're doing business for a little while, you know. We're not done on Wednesday. So that's where we are today, guys. It is an insanely exciting time for us. It is an insanely exciting time for this team. We had big wins this week. We have big opportunity And we need more people to impact the lives of the people that we have an opportunity to touch at the level that we want to do it. So I am asking you to take your lists, work them over the next couple days. And what you will find when you are focused on this, and Tony's my beacon of this, Bella as well, actually, it's nice you two are sitting together. People are just gonna show up. Stuff just shows up. And you're like, oh, you should come to our open house on Wednesday. This is what happens. Talk to your coaches, talk to your leaders, talk to each other. Go out Wednesday so that we can absolutely maximize this opportunity.
Yes.
Because it is all about it.
Yes.